Over the past 4 or 5 years now, I've been working on my agency, and around a year-ish ago, can't remember the exact date, I hit over 250k per annum revenue. So that's GBP, pound sterling, so it's like roughly 300k plus dollars. And I thought it'd be interesting to just run through what are some of the kind of key phases that I went through to get from 0 to 250k plus as an agency. It's not like £1 million, 7-figure kind of agency stuff. This is how can you, in the earlier stages, get from those kind of first initial sales all the way through to a real effective agency that has a team and build up from there. And this doesn't necessarily have to be an agency too. This is more, it is B2B, so this isn't going to be as useful for B2C. Any kind of B2B service business where you're trying to offer some kind of online service, so it might be like SEO or PPC or other things like that, but it might also just be online services like, say, accounting or whatever else it could be. I'm going to go through 4 phases, and I'm going to cover my personal experience with each of those phases, what was the biggest challenge and the biggest opportunity, and then I'm going to give you kind of 4 overarching lessons or kind of truths that I think are really key to get from that 0 to 250k. Let's start from the top. Firstly, who am I? My name is Max Sinclair. I'm founder of Snowball Creations, which is a paid ads agency. I also started Foresight, which is a smart weekly planner. I love business. I love helping to scale, especially positive impact businesses. I know a lot about this stuff, but obviously I'm going to be talking specifically about how I've gone from 0 to 250k. So this video is for anyone who's interested in starting a business or has already started a business and they're working towards that goal of those kinds of like levels of revenue. So let's get into it. Phase 1, define your service offerings MVP. An MVP, by the way, is a minimum viable product. So you're just trying to figure out what is the simplest version of the service that you can offer that means that you can start to sell it. Often people will try and come up with elaborate packages. They'll come up with many different options for those packages. They'll go a bit too broad and all over the place, and it's kind of dilutes the opportunity. And it also, if you try to do too many things at once, you just really don't end up doing a good job with any of them. Go with the MVP, the minimum viable product. So that's obviously made for product, but it works for service too. From my personal experience, it was deciding which out of the whole marketing mix should our agency focus on. We used to do things like email marketing, social media content, LinkedIn lead gen. We did all these different things as well as paid ads. My process of defining that kind of MVP was actually realizing which part of that marketing rainbow we should focus on. And so, of course, if you know this agency and what I just mentioned earlier, we do paid ads. That was the lesson there. So my personal experience was starting very broadly, and then I narrowed down into paid ads. So this is that first phase. It's trying to define what that actual service will be for your business. Really, naturally, you want to go very broad because you don't know like where to start. Like you don't know what will be your niche, for example. Like niching down is a really good recommendation generally, but it's very hard to because you don't know which is the correct one. This is one of the biggest challenges, is just knowing where to go into when you don't yet have any evidence of what is appealing, what is going to attract customers, and what's going to make a successful, profitable business. For example, I could have chosen to do paid ads for, I don't know, let's say Snapchat, and let's say Snapchat really has gone downhill. Like that could have ended up being a terrible business decision because I niched down too early towards that. So this is one of the biggest challenges, is just knowing which direction to head. One of the biggest opportunities though, is because you can go in any direction. So you have absolute, complete flexibility at this point in your business. So you have total freedom to go in any direction. So this was phase 1. So define your service MVP. Phase 2 is starting sales. This is getting your first sale, and not just your first, but kind of building up sales in general. And so for me, my personal experience, I kind of went like total war approach to sales, which was just do as much as I humanly can to get as much noise about me as I can. So I messaged, I WhatsApped, I Facebook messaged, I did everything I possibly could to literally send hundreds of messages out to friends and family to tell them that I had started running an agency and I was looking for clients. I created this really stupid leaflet of me superimposed onto a Superman poster, and it was the Superman of Instagram, and I was going to help you build your social following. I did all of these ridiculous things. I went around my entire local town, gave out these leaflets to pretty much every single shop that was in the entire city centre. And all of this got me from 0 to 3K recurring monthly revenue within 1 month. To go into the biggest challenge, I do have a background in sales, so I was quite lucky in that this particular part of it all, I was better trained and better prepared than many other people would be. So I think the biggest challenge is 2 parts. One is you have no reputation yet, you have no clout. Maybe you do, like maybe some people starting a new business have got some form of clout, so you definitely want to leverage that as much as you possibly can. But generally speaking, you don't have kind of evidence of results, you don't have case studies and things like that. But the big one really is that pain of rejection that comes from sales is really something you have to learn to get used to. You have to kind of embrace it, because sales is really very often messaging 100 people, 98 of them don't respond, 1 of them does respond telling you to fuck off, and 1 of them says, yes, I'm interested. So this is the kind of harsh truth often of sales. So that's the biggest challenge, is just getting past that. The biggest opportunity though, it's you likely have a lot of time on your hands. Like, you have no clients yet. If we have a little bit further down the line, you're going to be so busy setting up clients, managing those clients, and your problem will be how to manage them efficiently. But at this point, you haven't got any clients, so you have technically every hour of the day to go find clients. That's your big opportunity. Use the time-heavy tasks. Just reach out to huge numbers of people. Do that total war approach like how I did. That's the phase number 2, that's starting sales. Phase number 3, create your first happy customer. As an agency, one of our first examples of one of these like really first happy customers, we had a client using Google Ads with us, and they started to achieve a 12 times ROAS, and they just started to consistently see that. So month after month after month. It was spectacular. It just feels so good. It's such a huge win for like the team, for myself personally, just for your ego, just mentally that you're, going the right direction and your service has values. Really, really pivotal point to get to. I think the biggest challenge is just getting one of these. So you need to be able to deliver on the service. Delivering exceptional results, that's like the whole game really, isn't it, in a service business? So getting one is the big challenge of this particular phase. The big opportunity is you have a great story to tell. So you can tell that story across any of your sales and marketing channels. So in casual conversation, when you go to networking events, it's a story to tell. You do social media posts, you do LinkedIn outreach telling about that story. You put it in your website, you get them to give you a video testimonial. You do all these good things. You basically spread that story around the world for people to hear, so that they think, I want to have that story told about my business, which is a great result of, loads of money made. Phase number 4, make it repeatable. So you've had that kind of initial sales process, you've got your service MVP, you've got your first customer, and they're very happy, but you need to make this repeatable, depending on how much you're going to charge, like 30 to maybe £5,000. But if you need to get to that kind of 10, 15,000 pounds kind of stuff to get up to that 250K mark, like what I did, you need to repeat this process. For us personally, to start with my experience, we had LinkedIn lead generation working really well for us. We had networking with communities really, really well. Found our way into some really very close networks of people that have great relationships with each other. We did lots of content. We do things like these YouTube videos, for example. Make it repeatable just means do loads more of it. How can you create systems around each of these things? Like say these YouTube videos. When I originally was doing them, I did everything myself. Now I have somebody who works with the editing. Let's say the LinkedIn lead generation. Somebody in my team now largely manages that. So you start to systemize it and scale that up. And that's how you're going to be able to get enough leads coming in, to get enough sales to come in, to then start to build up that amount of revenue that you're creating for your business. So that's the kind of the sales repeatability. But then there's also the deliverables. You need to be able to create systems. You need to be able to bring in a team to manage more of the actual delivery, so that you can start to think as more of an engineer and improve the systems around your business, and so make it more and more efficient in the delivery as well, so that you can take more clients and be more efficient and have more profitability. And so profitability equals growth, because you're able to reinvest that money into doing more sales, doing more content, doing more everything. That's phase 4, make it repeatable. So those are my 4 phases. So 1, define your service offerings MVP. Number 2 is starting sales. Number 3 is create your first happy customer. And number 4 is make it repeatable. I'm gonna go finally into my 4 kind of overarching recommendations from me. So number 1, find somebody else that has that kind of model. So whether it's another type of business that I'm not talking about in this video, but let's say it's like, I don't know, waste management services, or if you're an SEO agency, or if you're whatever you are, you're a creative agency, you wanna just try and find somebody that has already done it. Most business models generally are not totally brand new. Somebody else has done something semi-similar to you, even if it's just the same business model, like somebody else has done SaaS. If you're a SaaS business, find somebody and pay them well to have regular calls with them, direct one-to-one calls, not group calls, one-to-one. So this is a very intensive form of coaching, which I found was transformative. Most of the time when I've had real leaps in my business career, running my own businesses, it's been because I've had some form of really effective coach supporting me to kind of upskill myself, learning a new facet, like whether it was coding or paid ads or anything else. So I'd really recommend find great coaches and invest in them heavily. Number 2, delivering a great result is the best marketing you're ever going to do. So referrals will always be one of the most important things for your business. In any service B2B business, focus on delivering exceptional results. Really think about how you're delivering those results and systemize it. This is the best marketing you're possibly going to do for your business. Number 3, this varies widely across, and it's very personal to each type of business, but I personally enjoy the approach of trying to productize your service offering. So productize just means make it into a product. So try to systemize it so that the steps are easily kind of repeatable by other people within your team or contractors that you bring into your business, so that you then ultimately, and this is also including the pricing, so you systemize everything. Because what this does is it frees you up to be separate from the business, and it makes it far, far more efficient. And like I talked about earlier, efficiency leads to profitability. Whereas the danger is that you can end up in super customized packages just because a client keeps asking for X, Y, Z and another client asks for A, B, C. And then you're just trying to satisfy so many different things. And this kind of leads you to be a bit stuck because you're so custom for each client, you're so inefficient that you kind of can only manage 1 or 2 clients, and then you're basically just having a job. You have a job for 1 or 2 companies to be their marketing manager or sales director or whatever it is that you do. Try to productize it, try to systemize it to make things as efficient as possible. And the very last one I'm going to go with is find your niche. So capitalism's existed for a while. The internet's been around for a while. Lots of the businesses that you're going to consider, you will have many competitors. And if there is no competitors, very often that means that it's a bad business. It's almost a good thing that you see some other people doing something semi-similar to you. So what you need to do is narrow down further into what is your little niche bubble. For us as a PPC agency, we focused on positive impact brands and particularly paid ads. But I would caveat this to say, make sure you're patient with yourself on this, because going down into the wrong niche is also another mistake. For example, as an agency, almost went to only B2B and we were going to drop e-commerce. But in reality, that would have been a bad mistake for us, because actually we've been delivering exceptional results on both B2B and B2C. And a lot of our clients are covering both, they're a marketplace, so they have B2B and B2C to manage. So we're able to support them with both of those channels. And we haven't really found an issue in trying to cover both of those platforms. So instead, what we did was focus in on the niche industry. We've gone positive impact brands that make the world better. So that's often sustainability, human health, which is mental and physical, future technologies, stuff that makes the world better. It's stuff that we get really passionate about and we're able to write really great copy for, and we just generally do our best work for. So that's what's done best for us. So that was our version of niching down. So you just need to be patient with yourself of when you really start to see really exceptional results in a certain area, maybe that's the time that you niche down. And then because you niche down, you can satisfy that audience far better than anyone else ever can. You're going to win. That's how you're going to get the most profitability, because you just own that little bubble. So those are my 4 phases to building out a business, to achieving 250K for the B2B space. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it gave you some insight into that journey. What businesses are you starting? I'd love to hear that. Please do leave a comment. I'm doing these videos every Wednesday, or every other Wednesday, I think is probably what we're going to be aiming for nowadays. I hope they're of use. I wish you luck in trying to figure this path out to that 250K. It's a big goal, and I will see you next Wednesday.